Hey, what's going on, you crazy kitty cats? It's Elder here. Before we get into this very special video, I just wanted to quickly apologize for two things. Number one, I'm sick. And number two, collecting all the information on this video was honestly a never-ending task, and it took longer than I wanted it to. This video is very late, however, it's now out, but I just wanted to apologize for being so late. With things pertaining to this phenomenon, for lack of a better term, being constantly deleted, it was honestly pretty hard to collect information on it as a whole. However, I feel that I have enough now to give you guys a full view on this strange case. With that out of the way, let's get into the long-awaited exploration of the impossible poster. Since 2008, there have been hundreds of thousands of posts across what seems to be the entire internet from some, for lack of a better term, entity. They generally post on comment sections of recipe websites. However, once you know their names that they use and their posting style, you honestly will start to see them everywhere. Comment sections of pie recipes, movie reviews, you name it, there will be a post from some mysterious account all saying essentially the same nonsense about key lime pies and restaurants that may or may not even existed. It appears that this poster has a few key words that will make him jump in on a conversation, but we'll get more on this later. And finally, it's so widespread and has been going on for so long, it's hard for anyone to fully understand the scope of it. Once you know the poster, you will understand that it is in fact them pretty fast if you spot them, as they have quite a distinct posting style and grammar. But that's also where it gets weird. Sometimes entire comment sections of pie recipe websites or movie reviews are filled with hundreds of different accounts with extremely simple names. And these are, from what I've investigated to be, the same poster. Now, they seem to be interacting with themselves or having entire dialogues with each other about essentially nothing. They also rarely interact with people, however, human interaction has happened before with some of these accounts, which, in my mind, is quite important, but more on all of this later. So what could possibly be going on here? It is just simply the most widespread thing I've seen on the internet essentially ever, and once you start to look for it, you see them everywhere. And in no way do I believe this could just be one person that thinks it's funny with different accounts. But on the flip side, the amount of interaction that this entity has had with people, and their ability to respond to messages, along with their capability to get past CAPTCHAs that most of these forum websites have, shows me that it can't be a simple broken bot. So I spent essentially the last month getting answers and trying to figure out what the hell could be going on here. Easily the largest amount of posts are from an account simply named Jake Carson. So that's how I'll refer to this online entity for the rest of the video. There's an absurd amount of references from Jake to pop culture names, as well as some political names that are constantly being used by him, either in his usernames or just topics of conversation in general. However, after looking through essentially thousands of posts on hundreds of different websites, the most common subjects are key lime pie, Key West, Florida, and a restaurant in Asheville, North Carolina. Another thing that you'll notice after looking at a few of these posts is that they generally mean nothing, but still seem to be quite coherent, albeit strange text. I went and did some digging about the restaurant he constantly refers to in Asheville. After little to no luck finding anyone, I finally found someone who claims to have been to the restaurant and lived there, and more importantly, that the restaurant that he constantly refers to does in fact exist. I talked to him, and here's what he had to say. Oh yeah, Kutchie's was a favorite hangout of mine and my friends growing up through high school. I knew a lot of people that worked there as well. Servers, cooks, dishwashers, etc. My high school girlfriend and I would go there probably once a week. They had awesome mozzarella sticks. I'm not sure when it closed, but it was after I graduated high school in the early to mid 90s and moved away from Arden. He also gave me details about the store that almost perfectly matched up with some of the nonsense that Jake Carson spews, albeit quite coherently. After getting to talk to him and his story matching up with the strange posters, I finally had something solid on this person, but we'll do more on this later. After I started to uncover some of the things, I started to feel even weirder. Why would this group of people or a bot be advertising and referring to somewhere that has been closed for almost 30 years? It just doesn't make sense. Now, you might be thinking at this point, like, other than clogging up comment sections, albeit on such a large and strange scale, the poster isn't actually doing anything wrong. But with the few interactions we've had with the accounts one-on-one, the Jake Carson seems to be slightly more cryptic and strange. In fact, a Swedish friend of mine was constantly asking Jake Carson why he was constantly posting this general nonsense and asking why and what it meant. They responded to my Swedish friend in, well, Swedish, and it wasn't a friendly message. It appears to just be cryptic horror nonsense, but it goes even further than that. This poster's been interacting with people and stealing their names, profile pictures, and even trying to emulate their speech patterns. However, one thing that you will constantly notice is the way that Jake signs his name off. Regardless of the post, he'll sign his name with a comma and 3 to 6 periods after, followed by his name. Now, at this point, we essentially have multiple accounts, all authored by whatever Jake Carson is. They also have so many posts across such a large swath that it would be impossible for one person to be doing all of this. When you add all of this, with the fact that they're sending what seems to be cryptic coded messages back and forth on such a monumental scale, you have to wonder what could be going on, and more importantly, who could be behind all of this Black Mirror-esque mystery. The theories on this are quite scarce, especially considering how large the phenomenon truly is. But after looking around the internet, digging through hundreds of websites and going through thousands of posts, I've come up with 2 theories on what I could believe could be going on here. Now, both of these theories aren't without holes, but I feel that they're both extremely plausible. On a side note, I just want to take a quick second and rule out the option of one simple poster. When you guys start to get a full scope on just how many posts this Jake Carson has, it would be nearly impossible for one person to have done it all, no matter how dedicated. Another quick side note is the fact that it's honestly hard to find a lot of his posts, and many of them are recent. Generally, these recipe or movie review websites have some form of quality control to prevent nonsense, so many of its posts get deleted. But I have screenshots from various websites dating all the way back to 2010 when this really started picking up, and it doesn't seem to have changed a whole lot in that time. This brings us to the first theory, that this could be some kind of spam bot or AI that's gone completely haywire. This would account for the number of posts, the ease of making hundreds of accounts to respond to itself, and this would even account for the diligence of the bot. Many times you see extremely recent comments because after a comment gets deleted, it'll just post it again. This is honestly pretty crazy to think about, but it's the best explanation I have for the sheer scope of this phenomenon. This isn't without its flaws though. As I said before, many forum sites have extremely tough anti-bot measures, and for something to be able to get past so many CAPTCHAs would have to be on a whole new level. And it just doesn't make sense for what seems to just be a bot spewing gibberish across the internet. Why waste resources on something that serves absolutely no purpose? I'm not convinced a troll would have kept up with this for 10 years for a joke. It's far too complicated. And that brings us to our second and final theory, that this could be a group of extremely dedicated people in maybe one of the biggest internet inside jokes that anybody's ever seen. If people were extremely dedicated or had a mental problem such as ASD, this wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility for multiple people to be doing. This would also account for the jumbled nature of many of the posts and thoughts, as well as the not so normal one-on-one interactions. The reason I like this theory more is because it seems to be based around somewhere that, at the very least, used to exist, and it's kind of a base point that these people would be using for some type of inside joke. The pop culture references also do seem quite odd, but again, the small grasp that we have on this indicates that it'd be incredibly hard for even an organized group to do. The scope of comments is simply just too large for it not to be automated, at least in some way. But these human sort of habits definitely make you second guess yourself and think, what if it is a human? Honestly, this is the most baffling thing I've ever personally come across on the internet. When you start to see Jake Carson's posting patterns, feel kind of crazy and you start to see him everywhere. Like I said before, we've contacted him various accounts that Jake supposedly owns, and while we have gotten responses, they have either just been the same nonsense that it's been posting for years, or extremely cryptic horror-themed messages about death. It almost doesn't even seem like the same person in DMs, to be honest. The last thing I wanted to go over is the ongoing nature of this. Jake, from what we can tell, posted on TMZ 4 days ago, but that's just what we can find. The scope of this, again, is simply too large for one person to even grasp fully. When you think about the random nature of their posts, he could truly be posting anywhere, talking to anyone at any point, and no one would even know unless they knew how to spot him. I think ultimately, that's the most terrifying thing for me personally. You could be talking to somebody like this and have no idea. Feel free to tell me what you guys think in the comments section below as well. I would say, if you end up emailing or messaging Jake, whatever it may be nice and respectful. At the end of the day, more than anything else, I just want answers. If you have any theories I didn't cover here, or if you have anything to add, be sure to tell me in the comments section down below. I had so much fun making this for you guys, and I really hope it was worth the wait. Be sure to like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the bell to get notified when I upload. I plan on making more videos like this one more consistently. This video just took so much research, it essentially backed me up for a month. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. I will see you guys Wednesday with a Beyond the Vault. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Peace.